Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive.
Yeah, great to be back.
Today, we're going to be looking at Colossians chapter 3, verses 12 through 21.
Oh, yeah, this is a really great passage.
It is. It's all about transformation.
Yeah.
So it's Paul writing to the early church in Colossae,
Right.
these early Christians
Mm-hmm.
who are figuring out how to live out their faith
Yeah, how to live it out.
in a very complex world.
Yeah, in the world.
So what we're going to see in this passage is Paul kind of laying out this picture of what it looks like
Yeah,
to put on the new self.
right. And what's interesting is he doesn't just give like a set of rules or like a checklist.
Right,
He's
yeah.
really painting a picture of this new way of being.
Yeah, it's like a wardrobe makeover for the soul.
It is,
So he
yeah.
talks about like compassion and kindness and humility, gentleness, patience, forgiveness, love, peace, thankfulness,
Right.
so many things.
Yeah, and it's interesting thinking about like why he chose these specific qualities.
Right.
Like we were saying, the context of the Roman Empire
Mm-hmm.
was so different from
Yeah.
kind of how we live today. And these early Christians were facing some pretty huge challenges.
Absolutely.
The Roman Empire was all about power and social status.
Yes.
And Paul is urging them to embrace these qualities that directly challenge that.
Right.
So choosing humility over ambition,
Yeah.
or forgiveness over revenge,
Right.
that was like a radical act in that context.
Yeah, that puts things in a whole new perspective.
Yeah.
Because it makes it more than just personal growth.
Right.
These virtues become
Yeah.
like building blocks for a new kind of community.
Exactly. And the Roman world was so hierarchical. Everyone had their place. And Paul's talking about this community built on mutual respect and service,
Yeah.
where people are living out these virtues daily.
Right.
That was a radical departure from what everyone else was doing.
It's like this blueprint for this countercultural movement
Yeah.
based on love and unity
Right.
rather than
Yeah.
power and dominance.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So he talks about this image of putting on and
Yeah.
taking off clothing.
Right.
How does that fit into all of this?
Yeah, it's a really powerful metaphor.
Yeah.
Because putting on these virtues isn't passive.
Okay.
It's this active, ongoing process of transformation.
Mm-hmm.
So, imagine you're in a situation that's really frustrating.
Right.
And instead of just kind of enduring it,
Yeah.
you choose to respond with patience. You're actively putting on patience like a garment.
Yeah.
You're changing your response and you're influencing the situation.
Yeah, that outward action then can strengthen your
Yes.
commitment to patience.
Yeah,
And it's just this
Yeah.
positive feedback loop.
it is. And it's not just something we do on our own.
Right.
This transformation happens best within a community
Yeah.
where people are encouraging each other and challenging each other to grow.
Right.
So, think about practicing forgiveness within a community.
Yeah.
Letting go of resentment that builds trust and deepens bonds
Absolutely.
in a way that revenge never could.
Right. It's like he's saying, this is how you build a community
Yeah.
that reflects Christ's love, a community that stands apart from the world's values.
Yes.
And then he goes on to emphasize the importance of letting the word of Christ dwell richly within us.
Right.
So it's not just about outward actions.
Yeah, it's got to start on the inside.
It's this inner transformation.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Well, it means letting these teachings
Yeah.
shape our thoughts, our actions, our very being.
Yeah.
It's like it's changing us from
Yeah.
the inside out.
So it's this continuous cycle.
Yeah.
Inner transformation leads to outward actions,
Right.
which then reinforce that inner transformation.
Right.
And all this is happening within this supportive community.
It is. It's a beautiful picture of how faith
Yeah.
translates into lived experience, both individually and collectively.
That's incredibly insightful.
Thank you.
Really is.
Yeah,
And it leaves us with a lot to think about.
it does. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
If you were to really embrace this new self
Yeah.
that Paul describes, what specific changes
Yeah.
might you see in your own life?
Mm.
What impact could those changes have
Yeah.
on your relationships and your community?
That's a great question for all of us to consider.
Yeah,
So as we go throughout our week,
yeah,
let's really think about that.
absolutely.
What does it look like to put on the new self?
Right.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Another deep dive into Scripture.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.